Becoming successful and being able to achieve things in your life that you've set goals on doesn't just happen overnight. It takes weeks, months, years, decades in some cases to achieve. You have to set rules for yourself. So here are the 10 rules I have set for myself to be able to succeed in the future, starting in my 20s. So every video now, I'm going to show Archie. This is Archie. Subscribe and like. Number 1, and it's not finance related, is keeping myself physically active. I think if you're not able to physically keep up with the way that you want to be mentally, if you want to be able to maintain a mental habit of, let's say for example, being able to save, being able to consistently invest, being able to work more and more hours and earn more and more money, you need to be physically able to do it. So I think being able to maintain not even a great physique, but being able to be physically active, and it helps your mental health as well. It's a win-win, and it's definitely useful when it comes to trying to push yourself further. But it's one thing that it's not really talked about when it comes to money, but your physical health is necessary, and it's definitely my number 1. Number 2, tracking where everything goes. It doesn't seem like it's a mega step, but you will be surprised how many times you spent 5, 10, 15, 20, £100 and you haven't even realised it. It could be 5, 10, up to £100,000 in 5 to 10 years that you have just lost, that you could have used elsewhere, that you'll be biting yourself in the future if you realise that that could have been a house deposit when you're now trying to save. So the earlier you implement this, the better for your future. Number 3, and this is one that a lot of people do on a day-to-day basis, but they don't actually track it, is set goals. You want to have a long-term goal, let's say that is to buy a property or to rent out a property in the future. You need to set out small goals in between that keep you motivated if you're not a very disciplined person. Like for example, if you are wanting to buy a property and you need to have £30,000, that gap between 0 and 30,000 is massive, and it takes years for most people. Maybe set it to 1,000, and then to 5,000, and then to 10,000. And if you do decide that you want to treat yourself in between on each one of these milestones and spend, let's say, £50, and you can go out for food, do it. As long as it keeps you motivated, you need to be able to stick to your goals and to be able to build them up to your final goal. And in that case, every single time that you do hit a goal, it's going to compound and make every next goal easier. So number 3 is setting your goals. Number 4 is to learn and to research what you're doing. A lot of people will come onto a channel like mine or like a bigger YouTuber, and you'll see they're telling you to invest in, let's say, an index fund, some ETFs. Don't invest in single stocks. If you're investing in a property, do it this way, this way. You need to know what you're doing. It's great to have advice and to learn from people who are further ahead than you, but you still need to know what you're doing. You can't then turn around and be, well, they've told me to do it. You need to be able to have your own opinion and be able to formulate an idea and a goal around that. But that takes years of consistently learning. I'm not telling you to spend 6 weeks and revise like it's for an exam. But if you can spend 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, 2 times a week, and you can do that consistently, the knowledge you're going to gain from this is unbelievable. And on things like a mortgage or on investing, they will stay with you for life, and they will be habits that you grow that will build your life for the positive. So 100% you need to be researching and learning about the things that you're wanting to achieve. You can't expect just to learn off 1 or 2 videos and never do it again. Number 5 is consistency. It's one thing that I see quite a lot is people starting on a journey. They'll do it for a week, 2 weeks, a month, a year, they'll get closer and closer, and they'll feel like their goal is too far away, which does tie into setting your goals earlier and being able to build it up. But when it comes to consistency, I think a lot of people, they lack motivation, and that's not what we're aiming for. We're not aiming for motivation, we're aiming for discipline. We're aiming for this to be a lifestyle, not for it to be a phase that you go through. You can't achieve anything long term and big and successful if it's just a phase. It needs to be a real objective that you are wholeheartedly wanting to achieve. And I think if you're able to consistently do things, which you can get assistance from if you have direct debits, standing orders going into your trading accounts, and it automatic, which you can do on Trading 212, which if you do go into the description, you can get a free stock worth up to £100 when you deposit just £1. But apart from that, you can do it on most other apps as well. You can do it with most banks. You can just contact your bank and you can get them to set it to where it goes to specific places, and it makes your life so much easier. As soon as you get paid, everything goes away, and you need to act like that's not your money. It needs to be consistent. You need to stick to what you're doing, and you need to reap the rewards in the future. Don't be disheartened, just stick to it. Number 6 for me is, it's quite a hard one for people to digest, and that is not fearing failure and not acting in the wrong way once you have failed. Because most of the time it's not full failure. Most of the time is you've just made a mistake, or you've not been able to achieve something in a set time. You can go again, and this is one thing that people don't do. They don't go back to something they failed at. They just quit. You can't just quit. If you want to achieve something, if you wanted to start a business and every time that one thing failed you quit, you would never achieve anything. Let's say, for example, you skip the last step and you are not consistent and you mess up, and for 2-3 months you don't invest. Just start again. Just keep at it. Go at it again. It doesn't have to be, it didn't work for me, that's it. You can start again. A lot of people are going to slip up. It's the same with, like, for example, a diet. 99% of people don't stick to a diet for more than 3 months because it's not their lifestyle that's changed, it's just their goals. But you can achieve something after you have failed. It happens all the time, all over the world. You just need to go again. You need to be able to handle it without taking it out as anger, and you need to not just quit. You can do it again. Number 7 is taking advice from people or fearing the opinion of people who are not in the position you want to be in. I see it all the time that people are scared to start something or to do something because of the way that they feel like they're going to be judged. And this is most of the time by someone who is in a worse position than themselves. You shouldn't be scared to try. You shouldn't be scared to do something that is out of the normal. That is how you achieve something that isn't normal. If I wasn't the way I was at 18 and I wasn't able to shut out people and to shut out going out, and instead of being the normal 18-year-old and going out partying, going to raves, I was sat at home with £72 a month spare, saving for a house, buying a house, then setting a goal for 4 years' time to buy another house, I never would have achieved it. But I didn't fear it from other people, and a lot of people do. They fear the thought of, for example, starting videos. Why? What is there to be scared of? If you're judged by someone and someone is vocal about judging the way that you are acting or the things that you are doing, take it as a compliment. It's the only way it can go. Just do not take advice from people who are not in the place that you want to be in, because you will never get to that place. Number 8 for me is being able to track your progress. It's a very understated thing to be able to do, to be able to monitor the progression that you're gaining. Like many things, you don't actually know if you're progressing or if you're stagnating. I think a lot of the time people look at the position they're in and they go, I've invested in this, I've invested in that, the number's higher. You look at the time frame and maybe they haven't achieved as much as they thought they have. And I think being able to monitor and track your progress, especially from a financial point of view, it opens up avenues to be able to utilise that finance. If you have money, let's say, for example, like I did on my first property, I had value in that property. I had equity which I had built up. I was able to utilise that equity to be able to use as a down payment on another property. At the time, my net worth stays the exact same. It just goes from here and splits off, so you've got two properties. But over time, that growth is quicker from one perspective. Let's say, for example, you've got £10,000 gaining on this one property, but you've got 10,000 gaining on a second, even though it's the same equity in both, because it's leveraged at the amount that you've been able to loan, and for the actual the asset value, it will increase quicker. And that is where being able to leverage your money and being able to know what money you have, it isn't just a vanity figure. It's useful to be able to utilise on finance. So it's definitely one of the things that I would track. Number 9 is learning how to increase your income without it being in your job. Obviously, it is useful if you can get a promotion in work, if you can increase the amount that you can earn through your career. Obviously, aim for it. But being able to earn extra money on the side and increase the amount of incomes you actually have is so useful. Let's say you lose your job, but you do have other incomes. That fear of not having money coming in drastically decreases. And it's amazing being able to work a full-time job. You get your full-time wage, and then on the side you can pick up extra money if you need it. Let's say you have a birthday coming up and it's not just for investing. You can go out and you can earn it and you can get it quickly. It doesn't have to be a case of you have to wait 30 days for your monthly pay or wait till the end of the week when you get your weekly pay. You can go out and you can achieve it, especially if it's something which is passive, which it is a lot harder to earn. Some of the passive income streams that you can have is you can have dividends. You could have, there's quite a few, like properties, for example. I wouldn't class it as passive, because there is still quite a lot of work into being a landlord, but it comes in when you sleep. You don't have to actively chase that money to come in. And I think being able to learn how to grow your income organically and through being able to learn extra steps as well of being able to manage, let's say, invoicing, for example, it's useful to be able to learn them extra skills. You start to become quite a well-rounded, balanced person when it comes to sales, when it comes to speaking face-to-face. It is very useful. So yeah, number 9 for me is being able to increase your income yourself. Number 10, and this is one that is massively underutilized by people in their 20s and late teens, is communication and networking. It's one thing that seems to be very, you only do that when you're in a specific niche. No, it isn't. You can network with anyone. You could be at the pub and you could find someone who you find interesting. Take their number. Just do it. You never know when it might become useful, even if it is a very daunting thought of messaging this person when you have a spare of the moment thought 3 years down the line. It's useful. It's very useful. The amount of people that I have met in very weird circumstances that I have utilised, for example, mortgage brokers, insurance people, a lot of random people I've met, and it's been while having a drink, or it's been at a restaurant, or it's been at work. You can speak to your work colleagues and you will find out a lot of them have a lot of hidden talents, a lot of hidden skills that you don't know about, which could be useful for you. Like, for example, I've worked in a few industries since I started working, and I have contacts within each of these industries that I could contact at any point. I could use it as either a reference, or I could ask them a genuine business question, which maybe it isn't industry related, but it's useful. I've met landlords, I've met property investors through my work. I've met them through going for a drink at the pub. It can be anyone. It could be someone who you've met in school, who you haven't spoken to in 6 years, but you've seen that they've started something, and you have that experience, and you can give it to them, and then they can give. It's just an exchange of value, and you can 99.9 times out of 10. That made no sense. 99.9 out of 100 times, it's gonna be free. It's going to be free, and you're going to learn so much off other people, and you can bounce, you can use each other's ideas, and they will have a network, and then they will have a network. You will have an infinite amount of people. You can utilize it. So if anyone wants to end up networking with myself, message me on Instagram. It's Matty UK Finance. I will happily speak with anyone about any type of finance content, and if I can be useful for you, great. If you can be useful for me, please help. But yeah, these are the main 10 things that I would utilize being a 20-year-old, 20 to 30, even this can work in your 40s. I think most of the time we just need to stick to principles. We need to stick to basic rules which aren't keeping us tied into a specific place. It allows us to explore outside of our set goals, because once again, your goals can change. You might end up going further than you thought, and your goal that you thought of 2 years ago now doesn't exist. And most of the time when you do hit a goal that you have set for yourself, that goal just seems small. Once you've achieved it and you look back and everything that you said was going to make you happy and proud, there's something else next. So you can utilize these 10 skills to consistently push past that. So that wraps up the video. To do a brief summary of it, I think you need to set some ground rules in your 20s. You need to stick to certain rules and create your own environment to let you thrive. You don't want to fall into the trap of, I'll do it in my 30s, my 20s are for fun, which, yeah, you can enjoy yourself, but you will regret it. It's worth putting in the time now to be able to enjoy it later on. When you're in your 30s and you've got your children and you're set and you don't have to worry, and your body's starting to get a little bit more tired, etc., you would have put that work in when you were young, and your future self will thank you. So to wrap up the video, I've said previously in this video that I have a Trading 212 link, which you can get a free stock worth up to £100 if you deposit just £1. I also have an Instagram account, which is Matty UK Finance. If you'd like to go over and follow and like that, like I said, if you want to meet up with myself, have a conversation with myself, message me on there. I'm up for answering any question. I'd happily create a community and we'll be able to talk and be able to work things out together. Also, can you please subscribe and like? I'm trying to grow the channel as much as possible. I'm trying to spread the word that finance isn't a scary thing. It really isn't, and that anyone can do it. I'll see you later.